Hello and welcome to the Destiny Expanse, a podcast where we talk about all things Destiny. I'm Callan, and always I am joined by the Cabal Killer himself, Joe. What a day, man!
Oh boy, very, very action packed. If you're like most of us, obviously you spent part of the day checking out this reveal. If not, you might be coming home and just checking it out. So today we're just going to give you a real brief synopsis of what we've seen with this and what's been going on, what basically happened today. A lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions, so on and so forth. But let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to jump into the discussion table. We're going to talk right out of the gate about the cinematic opening with the Cabal attacking the tower and I guess jailing the Traveler. Is that what we're thinking?
I would say that. I think if you had like a Bane mask thrown over your face, I think you'd kind of feel like you're in a jail.
What would you? We jailed the Traveler. Oh, yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that.
Well, you got them coming in, and if you haven't watched this, there's going to be a few spoilers. So just to give you that heads up. Obviously, you see Zavala come in, and he notices that the Red Legion's flying in, et cetera, after the satellite's been taken out and all the comms are down and the outside orbit controls down, so on and so forth. You see that ship come in, and whatever the heck it is, it looked like it was pretty much designed to jail, take, and or destroy the Traveler. Just reading some of the early comments I saw online, I heard, well, it destroyed the Traveler. It's been sheared in half, and there was other pictures of the Traveler on the ground. I know you don't think it. I don't know what to believe.
I don't think it, and why I don't think it. One, I mean, what's the point of even having that huge thing just strapped on there? I mean, and how many times have we've seen pictures, posters, whatever, of the Traveler with that weird like chicken claw thing on it? It looks like it's jailing, or it's taking control of it. They're capturing it in some fashion. And to me, especially with the story of how Cabane once, whatever his name is,
Gaul.
Yeah. Oh, you fight like a young man. You're very admirable. He thinks that the Traveler is supposed to be giving those abilities to him, like his group, the Red Guard. So why wouldn't he take the Traveler? I mean, does he think that he's going to be able to unlock that ability for himself and transfer those powers to his people, or are those powers already drained and gone? Like, I'm not exactly sure here, but I feel like the motivation is to actually capture and take the Traveler, and not shear it in half.
Yeah, we saw that other clip where basically that device, whatever it was, that jailed.
We'll call it the chicken claw, the Red Guard chicken claw from now on.
Yeah, chicken claw. Yeah. Basically wrapped around the Traveler, and it looked like in one of those sections on the video where it looked like the Traveler or something that resembled the Traveler was basically going to orbit, pulling away from the planet Earth. So you got some stuff going on there. Obviously, with whatever it was, we clearly know that the Cabal came in. Yeah, they destroyed the tower. They destroyed our vault. Luke Smith, silence for his Fatebringer. I agree with the man for once.
For what?
But no, Luke Smith, he's taking a lot of slack. He's definitely a good sport, and I definitely like the way he presented today.
Right out of the gate, I just want to throw this out there. Most designers are not funny. I mean, how many times did that one guy try to crack a joke? He walked out on the stage and he's like, "Oh yeah," everyone was like, "Woo!" And after he said something, he's like, "Well, if we everyone cheers for me every time, the rest is gonna take forever."
Steve Cotton.
And it's like,
and then he didn't get no applauses after the fact. So
it's, nobody.
that's a two-sided sword. I've done public speaking before. It's not an easy position to be, especially depending on what that group is clamoring for. And there's a lot of people clamoring for information on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like they got a lot of information, though. I mean,
I thought they did a real good job on that.
That's something that I wanted to ask you. I know this is kind of going off top or off script here, but man, what are your overall thoughts and impressions, just from a information dump standpoint? I mean, did you feel like this gave you the information you were looking for? I mean, what were your expectations for this?
I think it was the perfect start. And the reason why I'm saying this, if you're in business or promotions, advertising or anything else like that, you want a progression. Okay. There was a lot of anticipation. There was a lot of, anxiety coming up into this. You had all the special invites that went out. And I mean, just look at the amount of people that were trying to get into that. At one point in time in the early part of the stream, basically it got dumped. I don't know what the reason was for it. I didn't go online and check it out. But I know Twitch was hovering somewhere around 417,000 people were watching that stream through Bungie at that point in time. That doesn't include anybody else that may be doing it through a second, third party, be an Engadget, so on and so forth. So I would probably have no doubt in my mind you had north of 500,000 people trying to watch it at the same time. Twitch went down. Everyone was like, what the heck's going on here, so on and so forth. And then it came back in. The thing about with a reveal like this, you want that anticipation. When they sat down and they put the launch out there and you said you could order this, the collector's edition is sold out, the limited edition sold out, which we covered in our first podcast.
Yes, those are shirts.
You sit back and you want to create a snowball effect. So what'll happen is as that snowball rolls up into that launch period, you get more and more hype. You get these streamers and everything else like that. They're going to come back from this event and they're going to put that stuff out on their streams. And more people are going to reshare that or retweet it and so on and so forth. And it's a big publicity thing for Activision, for Bungie on that game, especially as people see more, they get a little bit more exposure. Hopefully they go out and they end up pre-ordering the game, which, it's all in a good aspect. E3, I think, is going to give us another big aspect with that. It's going to be another part of that snowball, and as it comes rolling down the hill to September 8th for the launch, the beta will be the third routine in that. And then they may show something out there with the raid. I think they got to show a little something. They gave you teasers and whatnot.
Sure.
There's one picture that was a still shot that I believe was back behind, I don't know if it was behind Mark Noseworthy or Steve Cotton, where it showed six of the Guardians staying there, and there was some kind of diamond-shaped archway. I'd almost be tempted to say that is actually a screenshot from that new raid.
Or at least concept art.
Yeah, or concept art, one of the two, but that's just where I'm leaning towards. And like I said, this snowball is going to roll, and it's going to roll all the way to September. And the more positions they get like that, and the more clamoring and the more advertising they get for it, the hotter that subject's going to be come September 8th launch time.
Right. So my expectations for this, a few things that were really key. I know that we've talked about what it meant for the Guardians to have no light, and that it meant that our supers are gone. And what does that mean moving forward? I wanted to see what our new supers might look like. Two, I know people never really talk about this, but I really wanted to see what they did if they included vehicles, if that was going to be something that was a thing for Destiny 2, of vehicles, and not just sparrows and ships, but actual tanks and like the Halo Ghost, things like that, the Banshee. Now I know we didn't get to see the Banshee or Ghost-like vehicles, but we did get to see. We do have sparrows; they're back for sure. But we got to see a Guardian jump into a tank and actually shoot it, which gives me hopes that maybe we're actually going to have vehicles and they'll actually be viable in Destiny 2. I know that's just a small thing, but that was something that really
made Halo
special, and I expect it for Destiny.
Yeah, it was another one of those items that you heard through a lot of different people, through the community, et cetera, that would be a cool little aspect. So, nothing directly mentioned of it. You did see a lot of vehicles in this reveal trailer, and I'm sure we'll see more as that goes on. What level is it going to? I don't know.
I don't either, but I do know that those new supers, man. Just when they started showing the gameplay for after the gameplay cutscene ended, and you're jumping into the homecoming,
the first opening mission.
Yeah, opening mission. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even know what to say, man.
Dawnblade, Warlock. I said that's my main character. That's what's going on. Master race. Thank you. Unbelievable.
Oh man.
Good golly. Some people would always sit back and say in Destiny 1 that the Sunsinger, obviously turned Dawnblade now, was a crutch. You're always trying to revive, so on and so forth. My God, that Warlock just lit it up on fire between
It was awesome. And
jumping in the air.
And I love the longevity.
Yeah.
The longevity of the super. It felt, in a way, it felt necessary because the enemies were pretty intense, and at the same time, it was awesome to just watch.
Well,
and the fact that you can hover and you have that third ability, and I don't know if that's just each class or each subclass is going to have that different ability, or if it's all just a jump, like a special jump. But
yeah, I mean, look at it when you first came up, and Amanda Holiday basically picks you up from the back half of the city in the corridor that we've never been in Destiny 1. And she messages Zavala and says, "Hey, I picked up that guardian you never shut up about." And she gets you up there and she drops you off of that ship, and you progress inside that ship, and you basically come around to I'm going to say is what the main deck of the ship is. And you've got that Suros pulse rifle, and you're, blasting some things away. And I like the way that Suros pulse rifle looked. I liked the way it sounded. It looked like it had, real good fluid motion with all that, especially with some of the other pieces. But you get to that one area where that yellow Cabal Major comes in. He's not a Della Major.
Did you see the health bar on that?
Okay,
they completely changed that.
But
it was like 5 lines or something.
Yeah, there's 5 lines. All that is different with that HUD. But the player basically dumped, I want to say, 3 to 4 5-round bursts into that Cabal Major, and it didn't move him at all. Picked up the heavy machine.
It's the return of the Mars Strike.
Oh God. Picks up the power weapon. Starts, rat-tat-tatting off the red guys, the normal Cabal, if you will, and then health goes really low. Then they decide to pop the super, and she just basically goes airborne and starts just flinging those
in hovered.
In hovered.
She hovered forever.
I don't know what you want to call them. Phoenix shards of fire down on top of that Major.
I like the sound of that.
It just boom, straight down on top of that Major, and it melted him in like four rounds, as opposed to putting 15 or 14 to 16 rounds in with that pulse rifle. Kind of gave you an idea of what exactly that super is doing and how it's affecting in Destiny 2.
And I'm curious how that is going to affect the Crucible gameplay also. I mean, wow,
that'll be interesting as well.
Just being able to zip around the map with that super, and it's not a melee thing. I mean, you can use it as a melee attack, but
you can use it as a melee attack. I mean, a couple of them, it almost looks like you basically have a solar slam.
Yeah,
where you're up in the air floating around. Okay, I'm gonna drop.
She was slinging the fire too. I mean, it's
a combination of a Sunsinger and a Striker Titan is what it looked like to me.
Yeah, what's the arc blade that people use for Crucible? It looked like the fire version of that, but I mean, on its side, it just
it was neat.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And what also was cool is watching the Titans smash around like Captain America in Civil War. It was freaking amazing, man.
Yeah,
really enjoyed the new Sentinel ability for the Titan. I thought that was awesome.
Play a little pinball, if you will, between enemies. I know in that one shot he bounced it off of 3 separate enemies.
Yeah,
and it had a lot of volume coming back to you. So makes me wonder if that's going to be one of those nodes where you get your subclass up to this far and you have basically 1 redirection. You get up to this far, you have 2 redirections, 3 redirections.
No, I didn't even think about that.
I don't know how exactly that would work, but
that would be really cool.
And then you got the Arc Strider.
Okay, I want to talk about the Arc Strider for just a second, because when I was taking notes off of this, I wrote down spear. And this guy's like, well, it's like a staff. It's like, and when you say staff, when I hear someone say staff, I'm thinking like Gandalf the Grey walking around with a freaking staff. You know what I'm saying? No. He's like, roar, 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 and everything goes dark, and you shoot lightning out of it. That wasn't a staff. That was
think of a bow staff.
I don't. It's not. He's not Donatello. Yeah. He's not running around smacking stuff. This is. It looked like a spear. Why did you just go with spear? I mean, and especially if it's a hunter. Why wouldn't it be a spear? Why would the hunter? Give the warlock a staff. I mean, get out of here. The hunter, it's okay. Anyway, I'm done.
I think we'll find
awesome.
out more if you look at the picture. I'm looking at a picture right now when me was basically doing her social aspect with the clan and everything else like that, and it shows the four guardians that are standing there with the clan, and then you have the 2 solo players that really are new to Destiny, or they don't have the social connection, so on and so forth. And to me, that hunter that's sitting in that picture, it looks like a bow staff with blades off the end of it. That's what it looks like to me.
With blades off of it. With blades off of it. What is that? A spear? I mean, oh man, I'm
boiling your blood.
I don't know. I'm just being picky, but. When he said it, it's just kind of like, oh my god, are you serious? Like, why would it not be a spear? It's a staff that has blades on it. That's because that's not a spear. All right, who's a genius here?
We'll find out more all in due time.
Right. I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but you talked about the clans, and I mean, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with these clans. Because what they're saying is awesome. In my opinion.
I love it. If you read the mission statement that I put up on our little group within the Destiny Expanse, she spoke very, very true to what I was trying to achieve within Destiny 1. And for the group that we have, we got a real good group with that. But just with the clans and how you can actually bring people in, and you have basically a banner that shows who you are, what you're about, what type of clan you are. You know, for someone that's standing on the outside that, you know, is intimidated by LFG, because let's face it, she brings up a very good point. There is a lot of toxicity in that, you know, have this, or I'm kicking you. Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, I'm kicking you. I'm doing it. I'm kicking you, you know, and I've heard that. It is, you know, well, I've been there, you know, I've gone into an LFG and they're like, oh, if you don't have the, what was it? It was the Taken King, and I was trying to do an Oryx raid, and it was during the day. I was off work or something. I forget what, but I went into an LFG and they said, oh no, you got to have the Oryx challenge mode to sit down and do that. And I said, well, you know, it's okay. I got the Beltane shader, which basically means I've collected all 50 fragments, which means I've also beat Oryx on hard. And the guy kicked me because I didn't have the emblem. I mean, you can have the emblem and not have this, you know, so on and so forth. But if you have the shader, I'm terrible.
I'd kick you too.
If you already have the shader, that already means you've already collected all 50.
Yeah, but these people are so. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it.
That's a subject in itself. It's a lot of negativity, and we don't want to review that, nor do we want to be that way. Just for
guided games,
just for the clarity.
That's. I mean, the fact that they're adding so much clan support, and you're getting like your clan will be rewarded based on how much you actually do as a clan or as an individual within that clan. I think that's very cool. I'm really interested to see what kind of rewards are going to come down the pipeline. With that system, I don't know if it's going to be kind of like here's you get a random package and it could be armor, it could be a gun, whatever, or if it's actually going to be like emblems or you unlock. I know this is going to sound stupid, and I think people will probably be upset and kind of hate this idea, but I'm just going to throw it out there. One of the things that makes you unique, if you have clans doing this, if you have individuals participating and it's unlocking maybe not just rewards for yourself but also your clan, what if it's unlocking unique emblems? What if it's unlocking unique pieces that you use to customize your own banner?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I know that's just maybe that's not something that people would really be down for, but that's something that would definitely set you apart. You're like, hey, look, we unlocked this piece and we can customize it any way we want, and it's pretty cool because our clan achieved it. And that's bragging rights, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a nano feed.
And to me, I would agree with that aspect, provided you stay within that group or clan. So if you would leave that group or clan, you basically would not have those aspects, because otherwise I think you'd have a lot of
Expanse, basically
well,
what you're saying.
it's not. It's not even the Destiny Expanse. What I could see happening there is there would be a lot of puddle jumping, and what I mean by that is, well, I'm gonna go join this clan because they have this, and this, and then I get it, then I leave and I go to this clan because they have this.
No,
this,
no,
and
no.
that.
And I think that for the banners and things like that, that's exclusively to your clan. That is not carry on. Maybe as a clan you achieve an emblem, and I understand the puddle jumping on that, but she did talk about having custom banners, and I think that is really cool. That reminds me a lot of things you can do in Halo, which is very cool. But these guided games allowing solo players, it's not matchmaking, but it gives solo players a chance to sell themselves to you, basically.
Depending on how this goes, I think this could go really, really right or really, really wrong.
Really, really wrong, yes.
And what it's going to do is I think it's definitely leaning more towards that single individual, and then
being more accessible.
And
this is what they meant. That's kind of cool.
A lot of people, look at the numbers that they said, which I'm blown away by that. They said basically 50% of the registered users are the players that are on Destiny, and that would be between PlayStation and Xbox.
Sure.
Were not able to complete an end game content.
Well, and think about the number also, because not too long ago we talked about how they said only 10 or 20% of people had actually completed an in-game activity like a raid, and now it's up to 50. So more people are getting involved, and now that was less than a year ago that number was flying around. So
and
I think Wrath of the Machine and this update have really and the Rise of Destiny 2 and brought a lot of people back.
Yeah, and it has. And like I said, you've seen more brand new, fresh Guardians. Which is something I think is really good.
Absolutely,
it just continues on going forward. But with like I said, with that clan support and the guided games, I'm just kind of curious of how exactly it is. If you're a single player, do you sit down and you put on, okay, I'm so and so. Yeah, I have a mic. I like to remain with a mostly chill team. I'm not big on aggressiveness or vulgarity within language, so on and so forth. Or am I a crap talker? And I'm going to say everything underneath the moon.
Basically, don't play with that guy, Callan from the Destiny Expanse.
Rage quitter. No.
So angry.
It's like I said, it can go one or two ways, but it's something that I open up with definitely welcome arms. And like I said, the clan support, to me, that's just a paved driveway to build and be a bigger and better part of the Destiny community.
Yeah, and I think what also helps with being a bigger and part of the Destiny community and helps pave the way for better things is when they start talking about exploration and how we don't have to go to orbit anymore. Tell me, how awesome is it not having to go to orbit anymore?
Well, that just means I can't get up and run to the beer to go to the fridge to grab a beer is what that means.
No, I think what that means is that, I'm not going to have like half of my 2,000 plus hours spent in orbit.
I would hope not. I would hope not. When I play Destiny, if I'm with a group of guys, I'm pretty much on point. Whether this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to get this done.
We spent a lot of time in orbit, though, man.
There is no doubt about it. I still think there's, we saw a few cutscenes where you saw the ships blasting off, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I think for raid activities, strikes, nightfalls, or if you're going with a team, I think you may, as a team, still have to go into orbit. But that's, that's.
I think what it is, it's basically going to be something where you pop your ghost, and you bring up the map, and you basically click on it, and it rolls out in a much quicker fashion. If you think of what it is a common day, okay, you got to bring up your ghost, you got to hold the X button for X amount of seconds before you go to orbit. Then you got about a 7 to 10 second load screen before the ship shows up where you're at. Then you got to move over to the director. You click on the director. Then you move to the planet you want to move to.
It's a lot of waste of time.
All that up. Then you go to the area you want to go to. You click on that, and then you move back to the right-hand side of the director, and you say launch. It goes into your 3-second countdown, and then you could be in orbit. I've been in orbit, I swear to God, 30 seconds flying into the planet.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of wasted time.
Correct. And Luke Smith said it the best. We want to get rid of any time where you can't stick your gun in that alien's face and use it.
Yeah.
And by doing that, that helps tremendously. And I'm sure being on next generation consoles, which, give it another year or so, we're going to be on older consoles as it is based on what you're hearing nowadays. It helps follow up and flow through that. They always said that the vault space in Destiny 1 was held back because of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, et cetera, et cetera. God, Bungie, if you're listening, do something with the vault. That's all I got to tell you. Please. All the stuff you did was good today.
I think that'll be addressed.
Not to sound like Trump, but make it great. Give me a vault for all my stuff.
It will be addressed. I think they're going to help. And I think, honestly, that when the vault comes out, this is just my prediction, and I know I should be saving it for later on in a farther episode down the road, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out right now. I think when they come out and talk about vault space, I think they're going to have dedicated pages for exotics, for armor, for your exotic weapons, according to their specific class, whether it's a hand cannon, auto, whatever. And it's going to be easily just findable. If you have it, it'll be there. It's just going to be simple. No more of this cluster F that is super annoying.
Even with the kiosks that we have right now, I think it's a good idea, but I only think it's half done. Kind of like you want your steak medium, and you're getting your steak kind of on the rare side. Yeah, it's still a steak. It's good.
I like medium rare. I'm not gonna lie, but that vault is not medium rare, man.
We could have a few vegetarians.
That vault space is rare.
Vegetarians or vegans out there. So let me just say a half rotted head of lettuce. But with that, the weapons, it doesn't bother me because the weapons are static. The nodes on the weapons don't change. So if I sit back and I decide to go scrap my bolt caster or anything else like that, I go pick another one up. It drops at 350. I infuse a 400 class or 400 heavy item, and I rank it up with motes or doing patrols or whatever it is to get it back up so I can utilize it again. My problem is with the class items and the armor. The type of player I am, I still buy 3 of coins. Okay. If I don't have that top tier item, I don't care if my bones of AO are all the way maxed out. If I get something that's 2 points higher in any category, my maxed out bones AO gets scrapped out and I basically start building up the new ones. That's
right. But
that's
it feels like it takes so long to level that stuff up.
It does, but I'm playing anyway. So
yeah.
For me, it's not that big of a deal. And if it gets into a situation where I need that item, I'm just going to dump Motes of Light into it. I've got a lot of Motes of Light too. So, I mean, it's not for everybody. The thing is, you go delete a perfect set of boots, 7956 set of boots that are exotic. If you had that item, to me, if you go back to that kiosk, you should get another pair of 7956 boots, but that doesn't happen. So that's one of the reasons why my vault is jam-packed and I have the Postmaster as my overflow.
Yeah.
But
Postmaster, man. Poor guy.
Hey, thank God
he doesn't packages on Sunday, that's for sure.
Thank God he doesn't charge me for all that space.
Jeez. In silver. So you're talking about patrols. Patrols are back. From the map, you can actually not only find activities like public events, things like that.
Yeah, they're going to give you the time.
Right, which is awesome. I no longer have to go to Destiny, whatever tracker or whatever it is. And that's awesome. Events. I think that's really cool. But some of the other stuff they're talking about, they have lost sectors. They have these adventures. And these adventures give you, these NPCs are going to give you like side missions or quests, just like you would get from any other action RPG like a Skyrim or a Fallout 4, which, okay, good. That's cool. One of the things that kind of piqued my interest a little bit is this whole treasure maps, lost sectors / dungeons that they're including into this, and that you can go out into the wild and try to find these dungeons, and there's some kind of dungeon boss, with a key that'll unlock a special treasure. That is pretty cool, especially if there's almost like not a strike or a raid per se, but if there's like platforming mechanics, kind of like you would find in a temple in Zelda or something like that. You find this thing and you go into it and it has some platforming in it, like a tomb in Tomb Raider. It just kind of has, it has that cool feel, and there's more than just like three.
Yeah.
Or one per planet. If there's more than one per planet, and it turns into something kind of like a Chalice dungeon in Bloodborne, or it's I know Dark Souls. I think Dark Souls has something like that too. Man, that would be really cool, especially if they're what do they call that? Not randomly generated, or what do they call that? What do they call Minecraft? Help me out here.
If you're talking Minecraft with me, you're talking to the wrong person.
Well, I mean, the world it randomly generates, so it's always different. It's never the same landscape.
I don't think that's necessarily going to be there, because it looked like some of those lost sector positions were basically showing up on the map.
So they're static.
I believe they're static based on what I was seeing. But the one thing that I'm hoping for is basically, they're talking about these explorations, and you go out and explore, and that's what they want you to do. I'm hoping that those lost sectors are out there, but you have to go find them.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of challenge with that. And then once you find them, you know where they're at. But then whatever is in there, or whatever rewards might have, may change based on this. I mean, we've seen time-based released items where you have to get this, and that to get, different weapons. Black Spindle was one of them, where you could only sit back and do it when it was on,
and that was awesome.
On the daily. Sleeper Simulant, you had to get certain public events completed within a certain time frame on a certain day.
I don't know if they would do that just because they're trying to make it more accessible.
They are trying to make it more accessible with it. But I think what you would do is you would basically put that on a bigger platform. In other words, that comes up the daily only once every 30 days. Make it so, you could get it here, and then leave clues with it that you can get into it, or something along those lines. Doing the exploration and seeing how the area changes, so on and so forth. I think would be a really cool thing to do. And then maybe it pieces together into something bigger. You got to do so many of these lost sectors and defeat this group of individuals, and you get rewarded with this. They've got an open book there. That's the thing that I like about it. And you've got a lot of mystery, and people are talking about it. So how they decide to drive it, or where they decide to drive it to, or edit it into, it's their game. They'll be able to do it. But it just some of my ideas that I got going on in the back of my head.
Well, I like them. So I'm excited about this. I think it's really cool that they went ahead and gave us the Inverted Spire strike. Is that's available right now?
Inverted Spire was one of the ones they were playing.
Don't they did what the new game mode for Crucible? What was that?
Countdown.
Is that available right now for us to play?
Well,
or is that just for those people there?
That was just for those people there.
Okay. Okay.
So the people that were there, they got three things that they were going to be able to sample a day and basically bring back to put on their podcast, their stream, their YouTube channel, whatever it is, whatever they have out there. In the PvP world, they had that countdown, which was going to be on obviously a new PvP map, and it's a different game type. I don't know if that's kind of a defend and offense.
Well, it kind of sounded like I don't know about capture the flag, but kind of.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't pay the most attention to that.
Well, I guess we love Crucible. Speaking of Crucible, though, I mean 4v4 across all game modes. What do you think about this? Because this moves to more of a Halo-esque format and also more of a MLG type esport.
Yeah, it does move more towards the LFG aspect, in my opinion. I don't know if it's a good move though, or.
LFG is cool too. I mean, I like LFG.
I I don't know if it's a good move though.
You don't think so?
I
mean,
here's
personally, I prefer to go in like control or some of these game modes where it's like 6v6, and I like that because you can get all these people together to do it.
Yeah, and here's my thing. If you have a separate zone for that, okay, I understand it. But if you sit down and you look at most of these Destiny teams that have been put together over the last, couple years, most of them are 6-man teams.
Sure.
Okay, now you're going to sit down and change the formula around where basically, okay, yeah, we're going to have to cut 2. I think there's going to be a little bit of distaste with that.
I already have it.
It may end up easing some of the gameplay and some of the fluidity, and that might be some of the lag. I know one of the things I was hoping for is that you're eventually going to hear something about, basically custom servers or direct supported servers. So everything is a little bit more ironed out, but we probably won't hear for that later. So I don't know. I'm not the biggest PvP plan. I dab in it every once in a while, but I don't know if that's the right move. And if it's all the way across the board, I don't know.
I know. I'm kind of torn on that one too. Let's talk about the new areas, the planets, and these zones that we're going to be going into real quick, because this is something that they highlighted, and some of these areas looked really cool. Just crazy vegetation and just all kinds of different terrains.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're going to the European Dead Zone.
Yeah. They say that's going to be the largest area that they've ever made within Destiny 1 or Destiny 2.
Well, let's be honest. I don't think that personally, I don't think that the areas that they've made in the first Destiny game are extensively oversized.
Yeah. You look at the Cosmodrome. I mean, that's
the biggest one, right? I mean,
if you sat down and actually get back into the campaign on some of those things and actually take the full size of the scope, there's a lot of territory there. There's a lot of territory on Mars. There's, quite a bit of territory on Venus, especially.
There's a lot, but I still feel like even though there's a lot, maybe it's a large space. I don't feel like it's outrageously huge, especially when you're talking about having outposts, maybe cities that we're going to be getting quests from for these adventures.
Well, that's where they're basically saying that setting up that first camp on EDZ.
Right. And also in regular Destiny, in Destiny 1, I don't feel like these spaces they don't have a lot going on in them, if that makes sense. There's just the sense of actually making, exploring these areas. It's kind of like, I'm going to go, well, there's a public event over in this area, so I'm just going to drive over there. I don't really care about exploring. Because there's nothing drawing you to explore, which that gets me excited for Destiny 2. That speaks to me because I like games like that. I like games like Fallout and Skyrim where it's like, hey, I want to go find what's over here. And, oh, hey, look, I just happened to stumble into some vampires. And there's a chest over here. And wow, oh, look what's in the chest. It's something. It's a piece of power armor. It's not. But, you can find that kind of crazy stuff just out in the wild. And it's cool. Like, you actually get to go explore the wild. And there's good things and bad things out there. But you get to run into it. It's not just, there's the same group of dregs again, and there's a patrol.
I'm figuring with EDZ, that's going to be your base of operations where you're basically going to start re-inhabitating yourself, and it's where primarily the parts of the campaign are going to come in. Now you move on to some of the other 3 areas that we're talking about. You got Titan, which is the moon of Saturn, and shocking, Zavala goes there.
Shocking.
I think basically the way that campaign's going to work is you're going to do certain things to regenerate or regather the Vanguard, like they're saying, and that's going to basically be a progression. Whether you go to Titan first, or you go to IO, or Nessus, the other one that was named in it. I think it's going to be kind of that progression leading up to that.
Right.
Titan being, like I said, the moon of Saturn, some of the position, the landscape on that. semi similar to some of the things we saw a little bit on the Dreadnought. Maybe not so much Oryx wise, but still that environment.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
And then the one that is intriguing me the most is Io, which is one of the moons that they're saying is one of the moons of Jupiter, and that's obviously where Korra goes. I'm a big fan of the Grim
Ahamkara there.
Yeah, well, there could be all kinds of stuff there. They say that was one of the last places that the Traveler's Light was able to go out and touch. So they say there's a lot of history there. And if you sit down and you read the lore behind the Warlocks, and like you said, how they're tied to the light and they study this and all this other that, I think there's going to be a lot of reveal back into some of this lore that you're seeing within the Grimoire and everything else like that actually taking place on there. And I think that's one of the places I want to kind of get into a little bit more. And I hope they show a little bit more on that as well.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of these places I'm really excited to check out. I mean, we just got a brief glimpse, and I think that's okay. I don't want to get spoiled on too much, so I'm pretty happy with overall what we were shown. Talk to me about this Dominus Gall, aka Cabane. Yeah. Oh, you! No one makes me bleed my own blood. I'm going to have to kill you now after I break your back. But I'm going to sit here and I'm pretty chatty. I'll talk until your friends get here to help.
This message has been brought to you by Bane. Well, I mean,
buy on the Bungie store. We sell lots of silver.
I know about as much as you know. Okay, so he's a Cabal warlord that is responsible for the Red Legion, and he basically feels that the Traveler made an incorrect decision in picking the human race to be the receiving end of the Traveler's light and the power.
Well, I mean, obviously, they have a giant red death chicken claw. I mean, how do you go against his intuitions there? I mean, the Cabal they're pretty badass looking. They're huge.
They're resourceful. No doubt about it.
They have Volus Tarek, man. He's the biggest bullet sponge in the galaxy.
Plus, you sit back and you think into Destiny 1 how they could tie a lot of this stuff in. When you were going through the Taken King, and for the life of me, I forget the name of the mission, so I apologize. But you basically go in there, and it was basically a tip that was brought to you by Dead Orbit, and Zavala says, tell Arak Jarul that thank you for the tip, because they were basically messaging another Cabal force outside of our solar system. Where did the Red Legion come from? Are they, is there another ship similar to the Dreadnought, or what is it? Where are they coming from? Do they have some kind of Vex time teleport system? We've never seen anything like this before. Come in and just basically stomp us into the ground, take our light, take our powers, where we have to regenerate everything from scratch. So what's going on there? There could be a whole nother story told just within that realm alone.
And when we headed into this reveal, one of the things I was actually kind of worried about was talking about having no powers, no supers, and it made me concerned that this game might become like Call of Duty. Like I know Call of Duty's been trying to go into space for a while and just not working out. So they're like, hey, we have Destiny and Destiny's in space, so we'll just make Destiny Call of Duty in space. And I don't want that. And after seeing this game reveal, this gameplay, I am sure it's not going to be that. So I'm super excited. Really, really happy overall. I mean, overall impressions. Let's just talk about your overall impressions now that we've kind of gone through some of this stuff. Me personally, very, very excited, especially for these supers. There's just a handful of things I could nitpick, but overall, I'm super thrilled. We got to see that rocket launcher that shoots like the mini rockets. I thought that was really cool. The fact that these weapons have been reformatted with kinetic energy and power as their new guide. I don't know how exactly if you can switch through multiple weapons instead of just the 3 that we normally have, or how that all works, but it looked really, really cool. The gun sounds were very satisfying. the gunplay looked very satisfying, along with the supers. Just everything was screaming awesome.
Yeah, I was real happy with it overall. I think it was the right amount of information. It gave details. It basically satisfied the palate for most of the people that were looking for this type of information concerning this game. And it put more, man, I can't wait for September 8th to get here is what it did. And we're going to have more reveals. They're
absolutely
make no doubt. They're going to pave a road here, and there's going to be more stuff. And the thing is, they're doing exactly what they want. They want people clamoring for more. They want more information. They want more aspect to it, so on and so forth.
Oh, they did a good job.
And they delivered on that. They delivered that full-heartedly.
Except the shirt I wanted was sold out. Thanks, Bungie.
Well,
I know. Why can't I turn in my discount T-shirt that I got from unlocking the rewards book from the update and just get the T-shirt I want? I mean, but this is typical Destiny complainer crap. So, all right. I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything. Is there anything else you want to add before we shut this down?
Like I said, it's been a busy day. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff coming up, and I'm sure we're going to come back and follow up with some of the news and talk that's going to be generated out of this. My advice is, keep your eyes peeled on YouTube. Your favorite streamer or other podcast, maybe, they're going to have other information, and I'm sure me and Colin will be back next week with our leads, what we're thinking. Rumor Mill, some of our other cross-based platforms and segments will be in full swing at that point in time.
Right. Well, I appreciate it, Charger. Thanks for joining me for this impromptu podcast. And I guess that's going to do it for today's show. If you enjoyed this, you can find out more about us on Facebook at the Destiny Expanse. We take listener email, and if you'd like us to answer on air, email us at destinyexpanse@gmail.com. Not just Destiny Expanse, all one word, at gmail.com. You can always tweet us at Destiny Expanse, all one word again. Joe, is always a pleasure.
Likewise, Colin. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Absolutely. Thanks a bunch, guys. And before we go, fun fact of the day, Jupiter's moon Io has massive volcanic eruptions, and Uranus is tilted. Stay tuned for our episode next week. We'll be discussing cross-console viability, 60 frames per second, and the question that drives us, when's the beta? That's all we have time for, guys. Take care.